Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are excited to have Jarvis Leverson, the founder of the Morning Hero. Jarvis brings an incredible story of resilience from overcoming homelessness to building a productivity empire. With 15 years of experience in technology and real estate sales, he's now helping professionals and entrepreneurs reclaim their time through the Morning Hero's unique morning routine system. He's here to share how he's transforming lives, one morning at a time, and his vision for scaling this mission driven business. So let's dive right in. Jarvis, welcome to Founders Future.
What's up, Jay, man? Apologize. My last name is nowhere near as cool as yours.
Hey, it's still Leverson. Leverson is still up there. No worries.
Yeah. But yeah, I like it. Thank you for having me, my man.
Absolutely a pleasure to have you on. So let's start at the very top for our listeners here, Jarvis. Take us back to the beginning. What specific problem in that productivity or time management side of things really inspired you to start the Morning Hero?
Yeah, great questions. I'm a computer engineer by education. I'm from Chicago. I went to the University of Illinois for computer engineering. And then immediately I knew I didn't want to, once I graduated, I knew I didn't want to go into hardcore engineering. So I actually went into sales. And so I did software sales and technology sales for 15 years. And I was pretty high functioning. I was number one on the leaderboard, President's Club, you name it. And then right at when I turned 30, I hit like this zone of life where I started to just feel mundane, just plateaued, right? Okay, I got the sale, I got the Benz. I was driving a Mercedes Benz, had a beautiful ocean view. I live in San Diego. I have a beautiful ocean view apartment overlooking the water. But then everything just got mundane. Like it was like, I think it was kind of lacking. Like now I know I was kind of lacking purpose, but then I couldn't really pinpoint what it was. I just knew I wasn't happy. Didn't feel fulfilled anymore. I just felt like I was going through the motions and I just felt stuck, just running in place, just like exhausting myself, busting my ass all day, come home, and it was just like, for what? And so what I found myself doing was just leaning on vices, drugs and alcohol to try to numb myself and escape and just to cope with what the whirlwind of the day and just the fact that I survived the day and kind of reward myself. And that negative reward loop of busting my ass all day, coming home and escaping, just to wake up the next day and do it all over again, I found myself going in this downward spiral. And it led to me ultimately going from the number one on the leaderboard all the way down to last place on the team to ultimately getting let go. I had a beautiful girlfriend in our beautiful floor to ceiling window overlooking the ocean apartment. We decided that we weren't the best fit for each other anymore. And I ended up packing up a bag and walking out of the place and was walking the streets of San Diego with just some clothes in a bag. And I bounced around living on friends' couches for several months while I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. And eventually I had to move back in to my mom's basement in Chicago. And that's really where my story started. It went from ultra high functioning, high success to burning out and fizzling out and ending up on my mom's couch.
Mm.
And that kind of that breaking point forced me to figure out what I knew I wasn't destined just to be on my mom, a waste of space on my mom's basement. So I started going to heavy growth mode. I started reading books. I started trying to reverse engineer what's other successful people were doing. Like, how are they doing it? And so I started reading about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and Oprah Winfrey and Warren Buffett and Elon Musk. And I wanted to know what, like all these ultra successful people, what were the habits, behaviors, beliefs, the rituals and routines they had in place that allowed them to do things extraordinary. And that's where I uncovered that all of them had these different things they did. Kobe would get up and he would go to the gym 2 hours before anybody else got there. And he'd shoot 1,000 free throws before the next person walked into the gym.
Mm.
And that gave him his edge. Warren Buffett woke up and he spent an hour. He was up at 5 in the morning. He spent an hour reading corporate financial reports. I don't know if anybody else finds that interesting, but that's
Probably not too many.
Tony would get up and before the sun rose, he was out on the beach meditating and getting his spirit right before he went in and had breakfast with the family. And so they all had their different things and rituals they did, but the one common thing they all had was they woke up early and they won the morning before anybody else was up. And that was what very different from what I was doing. What I was doing was I was coming home and I was binging. I was overindulging in food, alcohol, Netflix, social media. Like I just survived the day and I come home and just veg out on the couch until 1 in the morning. And then I would crash out, go to and wake up somewhere around 7, 8 in the morning. So my flow was way different from what these other people were doing. And I was like, that day, I was like, what would it look like if I woke up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning? And that was, I would say that was the first day of the rest of my life. That next day, I woke up at 4:57 before my alarm clock ever woke, or before 3 minutes before my alarm clock. And I've never used an alarm clock since that day. That was 7 years ago. Now I wake up at 4 in the morning. And I can honestly say it just lit my life on fire. I was able to start two businesses. I got down into my college weight, in best shape of my life. I ran a half marathon. I go around the world and I speak, helping people be the most productive versions of themselves. I got married to the girl of my dreams. We have the most beautiful babies. Like I can honestly see everything in my life has exploded from this one simple habit of waking up early and winning in the morning. Because I found that there's magic in that margin. When you give yourself a little margin, most people wake up right into their chaos and there's no margin in their day. They just go and they don't realize that's where all their bad habits come from. The fact that they're frazzled all day and they come home and they want to escape. When you give yourself a little margin in the morning, you'll find that's where everything you want in life is waiting in the margin. And your productivity, your peace, your power, your income, your health, everything is waiting in the margin of the morning. And that was what I discovered is that the moment I started giving myself margin, boy, my life exploded. And now that's what I teach other people. I started putting it out on social media, built this following, and then everyone started asking me, how can I become a morning hero too? And so then that's where the morning hero movement started, was people just witnessing what I was doing to fix my own life.
Yeah.
And then they were like, how can I get a piece of that? And then I wrote a book and started sharing all these things to help other people do on their hero's journey too.
Now we're here. I
Now we're
love it.
here.
Incredible story, Jarvis, and clear as day. The energy that you have and the passion that you have, and truly grateful to have you on the show talking about your successes. So, talk to us about the morning offer, right? How has the morning offer evolved so far? And from what you're providing and who you're serving, how's that changed since you first started it?
Yeah, it very started off with when I rebuilt myself. I recognized that one of the people that I started reading a lot about and started following was Jim Rohn, who was one of the
Mhm.
greatest personal development philosophers in history. But he's famous for saying this: you are the average of the five people you spend the most time with. And you want to increase your outcomes in life, increase the quality of the people you hang around. And as I was trying to reverse the trajectory of my life, I knew I had to build a circle of people around me. And I started hosting events, almost like a book club. And so I first put an event on meetup.com saying, hey, let's get together and discuss personal growth books. And the first time I hosted an event, 6 people showed up. And then the next time, 12 people showed up. Then 25 people showed up. And soon enough, we outgrew the living room, and I had to get like an event space to host these events, which was really just my way of just trying to attract better people into my life. And from that, every time we get together, I would talk about how my morning ritual and my morning routine has changed my life, and I know it'll change yours too. And I was like this preacher of, if you win your morning, everything in your life becomes automatic. And people would always say, Jarvis, that sounds good in theory, but boy, I have a hard time sticking with it. My alarm clock goes off and I look at that thing and I just want to throw it across the room. Yeah, I know I should be getting up a little earlier to have more time and space and energy. I just can't stick with it. And so I said, what if I did it with you? What if we got on a call together? What if I had a Zoom call? We got on a call at 5 in the morning and we all did the morning routine together. We have some time to journal. We have a little dead space at the end of the call. We can meditate and set our intentions for the day. And then we commit to each other. What are the top 3 things we're going to get done that day? Like by the time you get off the call, you focused, you got your energy right, and you've declared to a group of people the 3 most important things you're going to accomplish that day. And that was the first time people were like clamoring over, yes, I want that. And that was the first time I recognized, wait a minute, there may be something here. People want this. But obviously people feel like there's value here. And I was like, would you guys pay for this? And surprisingly, people said they would pay for it. And so that was the very first offer I ever had, was a morning accountability group. And that was for people that wanted to stay consistent. They know the power of the morning. They just can't stay consistent with it. And we still have those accountability groups to this day. So that's like one of our core offerings is as a morning hero, people can, several different things they can do. Now I have a whole course and coaching built out. But the first kind of step is people who just want to do it on their own. We have a whole course to help them design and win their morning, how to build your perfect nighttime routine, how to retrain your body clock so that you can wake up at 5 a.m. or sooner or whatever time you want to wake up with energy and vigor, how to get clear on your goals, how to we have a kind of a trademark time management process we do in a morning hero. So I have a course where people can learn how to be a morning hero, but then we also have a community where they can join accountability groups at either 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning in whatever time zone they're in, where there's a coach that leads those calls and that's really where to help people implement the thing. So one thing is knowing is one thing, doing is another. And a lot of people get stuck in the doing. They know the things they should do. Doing it is the hard part. And so the accountability groups have become a core part of what the morning hero is because it's where you turn the knowing into doing.
It resonates so much with me as well because of how many founders and entrepreneurs that I speak to on a daily basis. And it's true, you have to really put yourself in check. And it's incredible that what you're doing is helping people have that accountability for their actions and seeing other people going through the same struggles. And it's clear as day that really putting yourself in check can really drive you to levels that you didn't think that you can get to. So just amazing
Yeah.
to hear what you're able to do so far. So let's get into the nuts and bolts because obviously our listeners can become clients of yours, right? And really work well with you, which is why I love the podcast and this approach to speaking with so many and reaching so many people. So as far as the offer, sounds like what you just broke down, you have the coaching, you have the courses, you have the groups there. So what's working best for you, Jarvis, as far as acquisition goes? How are you getting new clients to the door? Are you using channels like LinkedIn or referrals work best for you? Word of mouth, ads? What does
Yeah.
that look like?
Yeah, so I learned my superpower is speaking. It's I meditate a lot, part of my morning practice, and I've been able to get in tune a lot to this higher frequency and my higher power. And I've come to realize where I'm often guided, and
Oh,
essence is speaking. And so now I do a lot of speaking. It's the whole Morning Hero started with me speaking. It started
yeah.
with me hosting events. And so events, speaking and events are to still my biggest lead generators. When I host an event, we'll get 100 to 150 people in a room, entrepreneurs, high-end professionals, salespeople, and they'll come all like-minded and growth-minded. And so they're all there because they want to meet new people and they want to accelerate the trajectory of their business or their life. That's the reason they're in that room. And so that then is the perfect opportunity where I get to share things. I'm presented as the expert, and then they can ultimately sign up for something down the road if they want to go deeper. And so I host my own events, and then I also do keynote speaking. And so, like I did the sales kickoff for Sun Life Financial. It's a big insurance benefits carrier. And I was the keynote speaker for their sales kickoff, their annual sales meetings, 500 sales reps in a room. And so I go around and I speak at Fortune 500 companies to help give their not most a lot oftentimes it's mostly salespeople, not just salespeople, but to help give their employees a kick in the ass that they need to better their habits, get the better. You want better results, you need better habits. Let me show you how to do it. And so I go around and do that either on stage or at my own events, and those typically are the biggest ways. And then I have social media, so I do a lot of social media on Instagram, the dot morning hero. Every day I'm on there posting tips, tricks, and ways to how to hack the game to get more out of it. and
Yeah, yeah.
and so I would say those, which that also is a stage, right? So the either a live stage, a virtual stage like Instagram, or at my own event. Those are the biggest ways I get the people come into my world.
So no, so not nothing around ads or anything at the moment. What's working
Not
most?
yet, but I will. I know that's the way you can really scale. So I envision this year I will be putting effort into ads. I tried it a while ago
Okay.
and it was hard to get them to convert and to get the ROI to make sense. You gotta, and now because I was doing it myself too.
Yeah. Right. I got you. So as far as what it looks like on the sales process, Jarvis, are you running the show on your own? So initial contact with the client, signing them to a deal. Do you have a team, a sales team, or are you doing? all of that from
Yeah,
someone.
I am the sales team as of right now. I do have coaches and I'm kind of structuring the way I run, where the coaches will run the sales calls. Right now, the coaches run the accountability groups and coaching calls. But as of right now, I am still the first point of contact. So when someone comes in, they can get like an onboarding call, and then that's where I get on a call with them. And then that's an opportunity where I can send them into other programs.
Beautiful. And it's clear as day that you're seeing so much success, right? It really sounds like it's been on an upward growth path and trajectory. But what can you point to as the biggest bottleneck for you right now for growth, whether that be lead gen or converting those leads into clients or
Yeah.
delivering fulfillment side with just you and a couple coaches? How does that look?
Yeah, probably that sales process. Like I've been kind of working on ways to fire myself from different pieces. And so I say that's one piece that I will be firing myself from is that part, the sales part, just because it's my calendar can't keep up with it. And so even if people wanted to hop on my calendar, if it's too booked. So yeah, so I could always use help on the sales side.
Jarvis is a busy man. Nothing wrong with that. That just means it's a healthy business. So you love that. So talk to us about your vision here, Jarvis. I would love to hear your main focus, your top priorities for growing the morning hero in the next 6 to 12 months, whether that be specific revenue goals you have or impact goals or what you're really aiming for to grow and scale the morning hero.
Yeah, I want to get 1,000 people in our tribe community. The tribe is like it's almost like a Facebook group, but it's a paid.
Okay.
But that's where our accountability groups are. That's where the core with I call it the Morning Hero method, where people go take like a course where they learn
Mhm.
how to become a morning hero. And I want to get 1,000 people in there, and so that'd be a product. Me speaking on more stages, 1 to 2 big stages a month. And so I've got someone actively out, like doing reach outs and pursuing and getting me booked on stages. And so getting on more stages and driving more people into the tribe, which is, like I said, that's the kind of like our online community where all the morning heroes live. So a great year would be to have 1,000 people in the tribe. We're almost at 200 now, so 5xing where we are right now.
Thanks. That's a nice goal. And it's clear as day that you can get there. Look what you've been able to do so far. I'm still stuck on the fact of what you went through to get to where you are.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit and you are going straight through it. Absolutely love everything that you're doing and talking about. And again, the energy, I could feel it through the conversation. So super grateful to have you on and talking to myself and the listeners about all the success that you're seeing so far. And on that same front, what do you see as the evolution, Jarvis, of the productivity coaching industry as a whole? And I know AI is huge right now and is on everybody's lips, but what do you see that evolution and how are you positioning yourself to succeed on that?
Yeah, that's a big topic. It's definitely AI is going to take a lot of people. It's going to take their lunch.
Yes.
I'm able to do so much more now. I used to pay people to do. Now I can we can output what would take a team of 10 people to do. Now it's just me and one person and could do it in half the time. I think though on the coaching side, on our space, I think it's going to make us even more valuable because people they will need to find ways to elevate their game, to compete in this new economy, to compete in this new world. People, a lot of people will fade to black if they don't do something drastic to make themselves more relevant, up their productivity, up their value, up their output, up their significance. If you're actively doing those things, you will fade to black and be drowned out with when AI bots go live, when AI bots can make 1,000 calls in 2 minutes and they're doing all the outreach. Then now humans will become less and less less valuable. And so how do you continue to stay valuable? That's where I come in. I come in to make sure that you're operating at all cylinders and dialed in so that you can continue to have a high output in life to compete against all the AI stuff that's coming down the pipeline. And yeah, it's scary the stuff that's going on, man. But I think that's where I think that people the fear they have is valid, and that's why they need to be doing things to up their game so that they can compete.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't you hit the nail on the head. It definitely is scary, but also the innovation that's out there, and so many founders are utilizing it to really take advantage. As you mentioned, a team of 10 it would have taken before it and paying X amount of dollars to now
Yeah.
be able to do these things on your own. It really puts you in a position to be so much more successful and so much more efficient with your time. So really,
Totally.
it's an incredible tool to have. And I just have one more question for you in our lightning round for our listeners before we wrap up here, Jarvis. And that is going to be, obviously, this is what you do on a day to day. So I think this is going to be, you're going to have a lot for this one, but what is a piece of advice that you can give to our listeners, other founders, entrepreneurs, business owners that are in the space or trying to get into the space? What's something you can offer them before we wrap up?
Yeah, wake up 1 hour earlier.
Hmm.
If you're waking up right into the chaos of the day, like most people wake up right into their phone before their feet even hit the floor. They're in their inbox, they're inundated by social media, they're drowned by breaking news, they got text messages overflowing, they got phone calls coming in. Before their feet even hit the door, they're already spinning in a whirlwind. And all day long they just spin in this whirlwind, exhausting a lot of energy but not doing anything, just reacting to everything that comes across their way. And that's where they get stuck in life. And that's where I got stuck. I got stuck in that whirlwind. And then what you do is you start to develop these nasty habits to deal with your whirlwind, these toxic habits of just how to escape. How do I numb myself? How do I make myself feel better just because my whirlwind is so heavy? Instead of leaning on devices, how about you just defeat the whirlwind? And the way you defeat it is by waking up before it. And so if you wake up 1 hour, for me, the magic sauce was just waking up 1 hour earlier. I call it the power hour. You give yourself a power hour every day of undistracted alone time. No phone, no computer, no nothing. That's where that margin is where you find all the magic in life. And so that's my greatest piece of advice. I'm writing a book right now. It's called Every Damn Day, which is that sign behind me.
Yep, I see
And it's
that. Yeah.
all centered around how do you become a morning hero? How do you defeat your whirlwind? And this is one of the core concepts is it's called the winning formula. The letters WIN. The W
Mhm.
stands for wake up early. The I stands for set your intentions. That means sit down and write your goals. What are your goals for the day? What are your goals? Your big goals and small goals. What are the things that be intentional about everything? And then the N stands for no blank space. That means fill up all the space on your calendar. Take all your intentions and block out time on your calendar to do it today. You do that. Wake up early, set your intentions, and no blank space. That's how you win the morning. You win the morning, you win your life.
I love it. Well, with that right there, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Jarvis, just want to thank you again. A remarkable journey, sharing your insights with us. I know that I was in awe of what you've been able to achieve so far and everything you've been through. I know our listeners definitely feel the same. I'll be keeping up with your journey because it's an incredible one. To our listeners, if you did enjoy this episode, which I know so many of you have, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.